I think the biggest story we probably ever broken was either the FTX stuff, but that was already kind of going on. It was probably the Logan Paul story, the CryptoZoo saga. That was a case where, you know, it's just the classic influencer greed story where this guy launches an NFT project, does millions upon millions of dollars in sales, and delivers nothing. He promises the world a fun blockchain game that earns you money, and he did nothing, and the project was left abandoned, and people were like miserable, complaining. No one says it, but
I'm not aware
they don't have a
of that.
voice.
I'm kind of aware that you covered it, but I don't know the story.
8 years. That's how long this whole situation has been building, and somehow it still feels unfinished. Like the story refuses to close. Scandals hit, Backlash explodes, and just when it looks like everything might finally fall apart, it doesn't. People kept waiting for real consequences, expecting something to actually stick this time, but it never fully lands. It just resets and keeps moving like nothing happened. So the same question keeps popping up again and again. How does Logan Paul keep slipping through every single time? He was born April 1st, 1995 in Westlake, Ohio, and that date almost feels too perfect when you look at how his career turned out. It's like the internet keeps getting caught in the same loop with him over and over, never really learning from the last round. He first popped off on Vine around 2013, dropping fast, high-energy clips that people couldn't stop watching. Everything about it was quick, loud, and easy to share. While most creators grind for years trying to get noticed, his rise felt instant. It just clicked. And when Vine shut down, he didn't slow down at all. He jumped straight onto YouTube and kept climbing like the platform switch didn't even matter. By 2017, he had pulled in over 15 million subscribers, sitting right near the top, making millions, selling out merch in minutes, and even landing on Forbes. From the outside, it looked locked in, almost untouchable. But even before things really blew up, there were warning signs people didn't take seriously. Back in 2017, old tweets resurfaced, showing jokes built on racial stereotypes. He apologized. People reacted for a moment, and then everything went quiet, way faster than expected. His brand stayed strong. His audience didn't leave.
Off of YouTube from vlogging. What?
Damn. I'm not gonna cut you off too much, but I heard you said you made millions off merch. Man,
Do you want to take a guess at what 2017 was?
is this guy your
No, I just know that. Yes.
30 million more, way more, because you had YouTube diss tracks. You had fucking every vlog would normally get like what 5 to 10 million plus
every day is a commercial.
every single day. Merch. Did you? I don't know if you had sponsors. You kind of just
No.
Also merch.
Just on merch. I made 50 mil. We grossed 50 mil in 20.
And that first red flag just faded into the background, like it never really mattered. Then came December 31st, 2017, the moment everything shifted. Logan traveled to Japan to film content and entered Aokigahara Forest, a place known worldwide for something extremely serious. There were clear signs all around that place, warning visitors to be respectful and even encouraging people to seek help if they were struggling. You couldn't misunderstand it, not even by accident. But instead of slowing down and treating it seriously, he walked in with cameras rolling and a full crew behind him. Then they came across the body of a man who had recently died, and Logan kept filming. There was no real pause, no clear moment where he decided to stop. He just kept talking like it was another piece of content and later uploaded it for millions to see, including a huge young audience. And it didn't stop there. Even the thumbnail made it obvious what viewers were about to click on. The video racked up over 6 million views before it was finally taken down, and by then, the backlash was already exploding everywhere. He deleted the video and posted an apology, but people weren't convinced at all. Soon after, he came back again with a longer statement calling it a serious mistake and admitting he tried to use humor in a moment where it clearly didn't belong. For a brief second, it actually felt like this time things might stick. YouTube stepped in hard. They removed him from major ad programs, canceled projects, and started putting distance between him and the platform in multiple ways. Over 700,000 people even signed petitions demanding his channel be taken down completely. It really looked like everything was finally catching up to him, like this could be the end, but it wasn't. Just 2 weeks later, he was back like nothing happened, uploading again as if the pause never existed. One of those videos even showed him using a taser on 2 dead rats, and that's when people really started asking if anything had actually changed at all. The reaction hit instantly again. PETA spoke out publicly, calling it out, and YouTube had to step in once more, suspending ads on his channel. 2 massive controversies back-to-back, both filmed and uploaded by choice. For most creators, that kind of situation would completely shut everything down. But somehow, his numbers didn't collapse. His audience didn't vanish, and the growth didn't fully stop. At that point, it stopped feeling like isolated mistakes and started looking like a pattern. Not because the situations were small, but because none of them were enough to actually break the cycle. Then in January 2019, during a podcast, he made another statement that quickly sparked backlash, saying he would go gay for a month as part of a New Year's resolution. That comment blew up fast, pulling criticism from multiple communities, and just like before, the same pattern played out again. An apology dropped, people reacted, and then everything slowly went quiet. Same cycle, different moment, reaction, response, and then silence like nothing ever stuck. But this time, it didn't stay contained to videos and comment sections. It started shifting into something way bigger: money, business, real stakes on the line. In September 2021, Logan Paul introduced a project called CryptoZoo, pushing it heavily to his audience like it was the next big thing.
You can buy eggs with Zoo tokens, and then the eggs will passively earn you Zoo tokens. Does that make sense?
No.
Well, don't worry. You're kind of actually caught up. So these Zoo tokens were basically this passive income. You know, you basically invest up front, and then you're sort of getting the tokens back out, which you can then sell, I guess. So that was the idea pitched to people, and people immediately buy in. They $3 million in NFT sales, tens of millions of dollars in the tokens itself, the Zoo tokens. People are so excited about it because it's Logan Paul, and he says this is his project. He's putting his name behind it, his backing behind it, and he's a great marketer. I mean, you got to give the guy credit where credit is due. He's a tremendous marketer. So people get all excited. All of a sudden, the hatch day comes when you're supposed to hatch these eggs, and half the hatching doesn't work.
He sold it as something exciting, almost like a game, but also a way to make real money at the same time. That idea pulled people in quickly. A lot of his fans trusted him without hesitation, jumping in because his name was attached to it. Many didn't fully understand how crypto worked, but they followed his lead anyway and invested their money. Then things didn't just slow down. They started falling apart fast. The project didn't come together the way it was promised, the game never properly launched, and the NFTs people bought started losing value almost immediately. What people were left holding didn't work and didn't match what they were originally sold at all. That's when CoffeeZilla stepped in and took a serious look behind the scenes. He dropped a full investigation series that reached millions, laying out what allegedly happened and showing just how many people were affected. What started as hype flipped into damage control almost overnight, and the pressure kept building. By February 2023, it escalated even further into a class action lawsuit, with claims of fraud and manipulation involving millions of dollars.
Logan's quiet. Come to find out, he had hired basically criminals who were selling on the back end, like some of the tokens. And he was sort of like, I don't know what his thing was. I think he realized like, it's not going to be that successful. Let me move on. I think his mentality was, let me just move on, right? The problem though is you have millions of dollars of investment in a thing that you promoted. You told everyone it was going to make them money, and then you never delivered anything. So my story was basically showing the victims of the scheme, and then in response, he's like, well, I'm going to sue you for that.
He said he's going to sue you.
Yeah, he said, I'll see you in court.
At that point, this wasn't just another internet controversy. This was real financial impact hitting people who trusted what they were told, and the situation got a lot heavier because of it. Logan's response only added more tension to the situation. In January 2023, he announced a $1.8 million buyback plan, offering money back to those who lost out. But there was a catch. If you accepted the deal, you had to give up your right to sue. That detail split people right down the middle. Some saw it as a chance to recover at least part of what they lost, while others felt like they were being asked to give up way too much just to get anything back at all. Either way, it forced people into a choice they never expected to make, and just when it looked like things might finally calm down, everything shifted again. In June 2024, Logan Paul filed a defamation lawsuit against CoffeeZilla, the same creator who had brought the entire CryptoZoo situation into the spotlight. That move changed the tone completely. Now, it wasn't just controversy anymore. It turned into investigations, legal battles, and a conflict that kept dragging on with no clean ending in sight. Logan argued that the coverage around him caused serious damage to his reputation, pushing the situation even further into the spotlight. But then everything flipped again. In October 2025, the lawsuit against Logan Paul was fully dismissed. The judge ruled there wasn't enough solid proof directly linking his statements to people losing money. On top of that, his claims about CryptoZoo being fun and profitable were, yes, labeled as puffery, basically hype, not something that crosses a legal line. Just like that, the case disappeared, and legally he walked away without penalties, and he didn't stay quiet after that either. By March 2026, during a podcast appearance, he made his stance very clear. If anyone calls him a scammer, they should be ready to deal with legal consequences. He said he's fully prepared to defend his name and take action if needed. And the tone wasn't casual at all. At the same time, the people who lost money were still dealing with the aftermath, with no full recovery and no clear resolution on their side. The story didn't end when the case closed.
Happens like when you take people's money. That's what I'm trying to on my show. I'm trying to tell these influencers, when you take people's money, it's different. When you tell them you're going to make them money and you get into the financial investment game, your responsibility is different. You can't just always pass the buck to it was a guy that's not that trustworthy. It's all right, that might be true. Then go fix it. Go hire some more guys that are trustworthy and fix the thing. And I think my experience, because I've talked to Logan, and that's why I know he didn't respond to me, because I texted him. I said, hey, where's this money? He left me on red. But I've talked to him, and when I talk to him, there's just sort of this feeling of, he's I just don't want to think about this. I don't want to be, he wants to focus on Prime, which is successful. He doesn't want to be bothered with the victims.
That contrast is where things start to feel off for a lot of people, and it keeps the conversation alive. And just as that situation starts to settle, the narrative shifts again into something completely different. Prime. This part is still unfolding right now. Back in 2022, Logan teamed up with KSI to launch Prime Hydration, and it took off almost instantly. The demand was wild right from the start. Kids were lining up just to get a single bottle, stores couldn't keep it on the shelves, and resellers jumped in fast, flipping it for way higher prices. It turned into a full-blown trend almost overnight. Schools in different areas even started banning it because it became such a distraction, while some parents were out here buying it in bulk just to keep up with the hype. With demand going crazy, the marketing pushed even harder, maybe harder than anyone expected. But then the concerns started rolling in. A New York senator called on the FDA to take a closer look at the product, pointing out that some versions contained up to 200 milligrams of caffeine per can. That number raised eyebrows immediately. That level of caffeine is higher than a lot of energy drinks made for adults. Yet it was still ending up in the hands of younger audiences. That sparked serious questions about who the product was really meant for and whether it was actually being consumed safely. And just like earlier in this story, the legal issues weren't far behind at all. Prime's bottle supplier, Refresco, filed a massive $68 million lawsuit accusing the company of breaking their agreement. That's not some small disagreement, that's a major dispute tied directly to how the business was being handled. Around the same time, the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee also took legal action, claiming the brand gave the impression it had official ties to Team USA and the Olympics without approval. That added another layer of pressure, pushing the situation further into serious territory. By 2024, the brand that once looked unstoppable started losing momentum. Even people close to it admitted the hype wasn't hitting the same anymore. The same product that used to sell out instantly wasn't getting that same level of attention, and the shift was hard to ignore. Then the story took a turn that felt almost unreal. A BBC journalist traveled to Puerto Rico to dig deeper into Logan's crypto situation and film an interview that had already been set up. But when the time came, Logan didn't show up. Instead, someone who looked like him appeared, pretending to be him, completely flipping the situation and raising even more questions than before. After that incident went public, his legal team reportedly warned the BBC not to release what they found. That reaction only made things look even more confusing because it didn't match the image of someone with nothing to hide. It raised more questions instead of shutting anything down. When you line everything up side by side, the pattern becomes hard to ignore. It starts back in 2017 with the tweet controversy that faded almost as quickly as it appeared. Then the Forest video that shocked millions, followed not long after by the animal video that added even more backlash. Then came the podcast comments, and later CryptoZoo, where people ended up losing real money. After that, the buyback offer dropped, but with a catch: take the money and give up your legal rights. Then more lawsuits followed. Then Prime entered the picture with its own wave of investigations, criticism, and legal pressure. And now, even situations involving major media outlets are part of the story.
So I don't know if he's doing it because he wants less people to get the refund. He probably is busy, but my thought is a transgression of this magnitude where you're playing with people's money and livelihoods, you cannot take it lightly. And that's one of the things is these influencers got into this crypto space. I don't think they fully appreciated they're now dealing with financial investments, and it's not a joke. It's not like a brand deal where, you know, if NordVPN isn't as great as they said it was, you know, it's all cool.
Right.
It's your company, and you promise people you're going to make the money, and now you haven't said anything for over a year.
And through all of it, the momentum never fully stopped. His WWE career keeps growing. The podcast is still running, Prime is still being sold worldwide, and his net worth hasn't taken the kind of hit people expected. That's what really makes this stand out. It's not just one moment or one mistake. It's the pattern that keeps repeating. The controversy hits, the reaction follows, and somehow the fallout never fully sticks. As of March 2026, this situation still isn't completely closed. There are ongoing legal tensions, lawsuits connected to Prime are still active, and people affected by CryptoZoo are still dealing with the outcome. On top of that, whatever the BBC uncovered still hasn't been fully released, keeping the story wide open. And maybe the real question isn't just what happened, it's why it keeps working. Now it comes down to how you see it. Which part of this stands out the most to you? Do you think the CryptoZoo case being dismissed makes sense based on the evidence, or does it point to something bigger? And looking at everything together, does it feel like real change happened? Or just the same cycle playing out again in a different form? This story isn't finished, not even close. If you made it this far, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and help me reach 1,000 subs. Drop a comment and let me know what you really think about all of this, because this conversation is far from over.